Hi guys, putting here with a community replay for you by DrPuffin in his Tier 9 US carrier, the Essex. Now, if you see by this matchmaking, this is glorious, glorious matchmaking for him. For several reasons. It's battleship heavy. Number two, there's really not a lot of AA ships. And number three, he doesn't have to worry about trying to spot destroyers. Now, there is an issue doing replays with carriers as far as what you can control. And really, you don't get to see him do any manual drops. I'm going to assume all of his drops are manual, especially his torpedo planes, even though it will look like not. You'll see the icon for just the for a manual for an auto drop. Now, what you need to know about the about this carrier is when you do upgrade it, you go from 75 planes in reserve to 90 planes. So the most important thing to get first is the hull. Unlike the Japanese, you really want to upgrade your planes first because you get your counterpart, which you will only see another Tier 9 carrier, the Taio, gets 83 planes no matter what hull he is in. Now, some of the reason I chose this replay is, unfortunately, I couldn't get the midway replay to work. But we did have two really solid CV games sent in by us. Fortunately, all I was able to get to work was this one. But this is but another reason I wanted to pick this to show you guys what to do when you're in a game with a carrier. And by doing that, it's look at the targets he's going to send his planes after. When somebody says group up for AA, don't be a battleship going to AA by yourself. Group up. Have other ships with you. Hopefully a cruiser with defensive fire. But if you go off by yourself, there's a good chance you're going to get focused by the carrier, and then you will just outright get deleted. Case in point, I'm sure we can all see this coming. It's a Bismarck. He's in a U.S. carrier, the Essex. Now, the other thing you need to know about it is it gets Tier 8 fighters, Tier 8 tour planes, but when you upgrade your dive bombers, you get a choice, and they will upgrade to Tier 9. You get HE or AP. The HE dive bombers per bomb will do 10,800 damage, but the AP bombs do 8,000 per bomb. The other thing is when you have the captain skill, you will get 7 dive bombers to where you will only have 6 tour planes, and with that skill, you will also get 7 fighters per squadron. As you can see, he's doing some pretty good job strafing. Now, like I said, this part is where I'm going to assume he is doing manual drops, not auto. I can guarantee you he's doing manual for his tour planes. It's a lone German battleship. This is food for U.S. carriers. These AP bombs go right through their deck very, very easily, as we're going to see here, as he gets 5 citadels, knocks out his engine. Here come the tour planes to finish him off, and he very, very cheekily says goodbye. Lone battleship, lone ship, all by himself. I have no words for what that guy was thinking. U.S. battleships, when they are running AP bombs, their food is lightly armored decked ships. Basically Germans. I believe the Roma also eats AP bombs very well. I'm not too sure about the French, but I know like the Japanese and American, they can kind of take those AP bombs because they go with a heavily a more armored deck. I forget the numbers off the top of my head. I am sorry. But one of the issues with the Essex is because its fighters and tour planes are at tier 8, the fighters only do 169 knots. The tour planes with a load, I don't know the number when it's dropped, but it will increase when it drops, does 136. Now, just to give you an idea of what I mean by that's a little bit of an issue, the Taiho fighters at tier 9, while he only gets 5 of them, do 176 knots. So he'll be able to catch up to all of your planes because the dive bombers, whether they HE or AP, only do 151 knots. Or 151 knots. So his planes can't catch up to you fairly quickly. While your fighter's only doing 169, the dive bombers and the dive bombers for the Taiho do 156 knots. The tour planes also do 156 knots, while the fighters do, like I said, 176. Now, like I was saying, you can see the targets this gentleman is selecting. He's doing a good job of focusing down planes. He's trying to strafe when he can. It looks like the enemy carrier is just locking, not even trying to strafe. And as you can see, what he did there is he strafed out of that into the planes, or into the attack into the attack the strike planes, and was able to get them. What he's going to do here is he's going to strafe in and strafe out. He strafed out with the fighters that had them locked up and strafed in with the free guy. And as you can see, he did an excellent job just murdering planes. But German battleship, kind of not off alone. I believe that is his catapult fighter that's up in the air. But look at that. One citadel. But look at all of that damage. And that was just from one bomber, I do believe. Yes, he still has one more coming. Here comes the tour planes. And really, when you go with this loadout with the AP bombs, you're going for outright strikes. You're going for the big damage. Right away, as he gets 4 citadels, easily finishes off the torpedoes. Now, another thing to note or to think about as far as U.S. carriers is your concealment is kind of garbage. Without the captain skill, you, and just the module, just the concealment module, no captain skill, you are detected at 13 kilometers by air and by sea. Now, with the captain skill, that drops down to 11 kilometers by sea and 10.9 by air. To put that in contrast, a Taiho without the skill goes down to 12.7 and 11.3. So pretty much by air, both of them with no skill are spotted at 11 kilometers because planes can only spot to 11 kilometers. I don't know the number for the Taiho with the skill because you just don't need it, because you're just throwing a module, drops you down to a respectable 12.5. But the US kind of do need the skill because really you want to play your carrier following the fleet. Now this gentleman has got himself in a pretty good position. He's like right in the middle of the map. He's very, very close to B. If he did not have the skill, that Scharnhorst would have been able to spot him. But because he's got the skill, he's able to get up into the fight a little bit and remain hidden. But as you can see, he is full steam to A. I do not know why the friendly Frederick went to A, but you know what? Hats off to a battleship for trying to get a cap. And shame on the enemy carrier for not noticing this. As you can see, he's bringing in one dive bomber, dropping it on another German battleship, and look, 4 citadels. And I believe he incapacitated one of his main batteries, and that was just from one squadron. He did lose a couple planes, but you know what? You've got the reserve to handle it. It's your torp planes where you might want to play a little bit safe with a little bit. But as you can see, brings in a second dive bomber, brings the torp planes up to deal with the cruiser because there was no need for him to drop on the battleship because the dive bombers were able to easily finish it. As I believe he just missed out on a double strike. Now, all the camera movement, just so you guys know, is him. I left that. I left it just like that instead of me taking control of the camera. All I did was select each of the individual. Well, I had to select all of the squadrons just so you could see the you know what he's doing with it. God damn it, Seaver, shut up. Just to see what he's doing. And sorry about the Discord, guys. But as you can see, the enemy Taiho really is going to... He needs... I believe it's a Taiho. I could be wrong. No. Yeah, that's another U.S. carrier, I believe. I believe he's going with HE bombs, which means he's going for damage over time. Now, that's not exactly a bad thing because you're actually able to deal with destroyers. AP bombs really, all you're gonna get is over pens on destroyers. So all you're gonna do is 800 per bomb if you get a hit. That's the other thing, is it doesn't show you the it's not a circle, it's oblong, I believe it's the terminology. Drop pattern for the U.S. dive bombers. Now, as you can see, he's sucking in the enemy fighters into the Frederick and into him. He's probably got some sort of AA build because, you know what, you need to protect yourself. You have access to defensive fire, which he did pop there, to deal with those pesky fighters. As you can see, he's trying to group up his dive bombers. He's bringing out his torp planes. He's bringing everything together. I believe he's recycling his fighters. But like I said, the reason I'm showing you this replay is because look at the target selections he was choosing. Even look at what the enemy carrier selected. The enemy carrier wised up and went after the lone battleship. But luckily, DrPuffin was there to at least deal with some of the planes, even though we did lose the Frederick. But here you're going to see what happens when you try to dive bomb anything that's got a decent armored deck. You're not going to do much with the AP. To where the HE will always do damage, and I don't know the fire chances off the top of my head. I'm not sure where that information or number is because it's really not important. But as you can see, he dropped all of his dive bombers and only did 7,400. U.S. battleships can easily handle the AP, but they cannot handle the torp planes as he gets a nice cracking. Now, the other thing you notice is both carriers, well, at least DrPuffin is moving. He's not staying stationary. They are not in a position to, they're not winning. They need to make the moves. Now, I do believe he selected both of his fighters, or at least one, to go and just protect the Alabama. And this is where HE bombs are a little bit more beneficial, is you can pretty much bomb anything to where AP It's just anything with a very lightly armored deck. The other thing is, you know what? I mean, like I said, he's not going for damage over time. He's going for the outright strikes, which he did get. Well, he got 5 kills, but he did get like 3 outright deletions, even though I'm not sure if he got any death strikes. No, he didn't get any death strikes, no award. Even, I'm not sure how the death strikes work for carriers, if it's in all of your squadrons or just one. I just don't play the carriers enough. But as you can see, that North Cal is still fairly healthy. Now, the friendly Alabama's doing this right. He's putting an island between himself and is going to deal with the rune, which means the North Cal is going to be out of the fight. While DrPuffin comes down to make sure that he's going to get into cap and not run aground, while he focuses on his squadrons. As you can see, he's kind of keeping the camera or overhead view on where ships were last spotted. Now, this North Carolina realizes what the Alabama's doing and realizes, you know what, I might as well try to get on camp. And I got to turn because torp planes are coming. The other thing is, when you see torp planes coming, unless you see them at about 9-10 kilometers, you're better off turning into them. Especially if you know they're coming for you. If you turn out is when you eat a lot of them, as we saw what happened to the Iowa. As we watch what the North Carolina is going to do. And look, another 7,900. Now, the North Cal, I don't know why he slowed down. But as you can see, well, no, North Cal is just going to prove me wrong completely. Is it's going to take 4 torps because he slowed down for whatever stupid reason. But if he would have kept speed and turned in, he might have only eaten 2 torps instead of 4. The other thing with what I see DrPuffin doing is he might have noticed this and called his planes back. But if he doesn't drop and keeps his planes in your AA, that's more time for your AA to do damage. I don't know why the North Cal never came into the B cap because, well, that's what he should have done. Our poor Alabama is going to burn to death. We are still losing on points and we only have 2 minutes left. We do not have a lot of time. Now, the other thing, if you can notice in chat, you know, some people were salty. Some people are like, you know what, good for you. As far as what you're doing. But as you can see, he set some waypoints for what he wanted his planes to do. The enemy North Cal is finally coming in, which a little bit too late, but as you can see, the enemy carrier is moving. He definitely wasn't where he spawned. He did move. It looked like he might have been hiding behind the island, but moved away from it. Looks like he's trying to get his planes. Looks like he's trying to push camp to get his planes into action faster, shorten up that reload time. This is the other reason I wanted to show you this, is look how long it takes his planes, he needs to cycle through his planes. While he's done an impressive 244,000, and of course, you know, that's going to change because he just dropped. But he did do, you know, because he has done like 250k damage. Look how long it's taking him to cycle through his planes. Carriers do not have a fast time to kill. They do not have DPM. It's either damage over time or outright deletion, depending on what you are going with. Now that the North Carolina's gone, we have 2 caps to their 1. The rune is extremely low on health, but the rune's doing the right thing. Is shooting HE. Just get that deck on fire to stop this guy from getting planes in the air. Doesn't do a lot of damage to German cruisers. I forget why. But usually AP bombs, your big targets are German battleships. Anything with a lightly armored deck. Now, the other thing is, if you noticed, DrPuffin didn't immediately put out the fire. He let it burn for a little bit and waited until his planes were going to be able to take off to put it out, because he has 30 seconds from when he hits repair till it ends to get his planes up. He's not going to get the rune. He's going to get the win. So now we're going to check out the post-battle results. An impressive carrier game with 265,000 damage. Confederate Kraken, King of the Sky, high caliber, #1 on his team with an astonishing 2,600 base experience. My hat is off to you, good sir, as he did walk away making some good credits. Very well earned victory. Excellent job on getting King of the Sky. I do believe it's a little bit easier now, but still, you don't see it very often. Now, we do love all the support you guys do give us. We do love the replays you send in. The email for that is in the description down below. Please remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment. And on that note, guys, please hit the like and subscribe button and have a great day.